Okay, this one is called Barbie Girl for a good reason. There's the Diamond family, mostly cops, married to cops. Then there's the extended family who are doctors, morticians. You got them everywhere, and they're all Greek from Saint Demetrius, Greek Orthodox Church. Now, Diamond, I believe I was about 13, a little bit older maybe. Yeah, older, about 14, 15 then. Um, Training bra session. But I think that's when he became a cop, and you get those prank phone calls back in those days where this guy, he calls and says, "Is there a upstairs window that you could go to and in your bra? We're trying to catch a serial killer, and he's a rapist and all this stuff." And at that time, I didn't understand any of that at all. Um, Grew up in a church, so we were pretty much innocent, and our father allowed us to be innocent, and he made sure no TV, no nothing. Uh, at that time, it was starting to get, you were starting to have those, the the sex scenes, like Burt Reynolds or some shit. There was one point where we got sent to our room where our father freaked out. They were kissing, so that's what I remember, and that's what I do to this day. It's not to make it normal for my daughter to think that it's okay, but that's my parenting, and I I enjoy children being children, and it should stay that way. But the guy was perverted. Diamond is mentally retarded. I'm not saying that as an insult, just factual basis, and I'm surprised he even made it past the academy, but that's due to his father. They didn't have the restrictions they do now, but even then, they'll still probably find ways to bypass and have all these emotionally unstable, mentally jacked up police officers because they know somebody that knows somebody, networking, which is horrible in some situations, especially police officer. Um, he's a bike cop in Seattle, Washington, and his sister. Uh, I do believe she's another person that morphs in me for the most time. After the first surgery, she was pushing really hard for me to befriend her. Uh, I didn't want, I didn't want to have anything to do with her. Moral standard wise, we are on different levels. Gold digger versus me, which is a single mother that was trying to survive, um, versus a spoiled Barbie, which is extremely unhealthy. But either way, she was trying really hard to make it look like we were friends or we had any type of relationship. I was mostly helping out her grandmother, who sponsored us here, and I've made a promise to her, and I had to keep it. That's the only reason I kept in touch. Other than that, I didn't want to have anything to do with their family. They were all waiting for her to die so they could have her money. And I was making sure that I was not on the will because I knew they would attack me. And she kept saying, "I'll leave you this, I'll leave you that." No, thank you. I'll pass. Her son's he retired as a detective. Went down to California, then came back up to Washington. For retirement. Her son's a her grandson's a bike cop. Her granddaughter's a spoiled brat. But these are the people that have been torturing me for a long time. Barbie's the one that kept giving me hormones, so I could be like her, or my body could be like hers, and she kept having miscarriages because it was ancestral on her side. But they're trying to flip-flop stories and make it seem like my family was ancestral, which I don't think they are. If they were, they were, but I doubt it. My mother and father were from 2 different countries, so, but if they were, that's the end of it. They were. And I'm the fucking jacked up product. Um, but with theirs, the mental, they had it on whatever 3-way, 4-way, where I was talking to all of them at once, and it was really sick and disturbing, especially the mentality of the son and how his nickname is Jamako, and how he wanted to torture his father. It's really sick mentality. His father is an angry man. Pretty scary. Even abused an old lady. So I have no respect for any of them. But it's disturbing because these are officers that are abusing their powers to do whatever the hell they want. And on top of that, me being a black woman, them being white, especially in Seattle, Washington, it's rough. Being a black person in Washington State is hard. It's extremely hard. It's where you think, like, okay, now I was just smoking and thinking, like, I wonder if the North stopped the South from having racism, just so they could have their own version of slavery, yeah, stop slavery for that, which slavery never ended, still continues. It's just the majority of us are slaves. One way or another, we are slaves. That's how I view it, in a realistic way, without the entertainment and without the flashing lights, without the TV, without anything. When you stop to look at life, we're all slaves. Even the slave owners are slaves, but they're the biggest idiots. and and a lot of the cops, they were carefully chosen because they were racist. The Hispanic who hated Hispanics, so he tortured the Hispanics. Uh, the Greek officer who hated everybody because he couldn't stand himself, probably. I couldn't stand him. I mean, I was dealing with a lot of hate from just mentally challenged individuals. And when I say retarded, I really mean retarded. It's just what it is. It's not an insult. It's just fact. If a lot of people were thinking that I was saying retired motherfucker was to a disabled person, and even when I tried to explain it to them and they heard it, they were still trying to fight. These are people that rather be distracted by words rather than people's actions. And so I don't have time for that. If I'm telling a person he's retarded because he's slow and can't fucking catch up, then he's retarded. But a disabled person is not retarded. They're actually intelligent. In my view, they really are. They're extremely perceptive. I mean, they have more qualities than most of us that call ourselves normal. So if you want to challenge me on that, go ahead. But there ain't nothing to challenge. Hopefully I'll be allowed to ignore you because that's what you should get. If you can't understand that, then you are retarded. Or you're confrontational, instigative, want to deflect your problems onto me or anybody else because all of you guys are protesting over nothing when the real shit is actually happening and you guys are ignoring it. So the hell with you. We have pedophilias. You guys don't even raise a fucking eyebrow anymore because it's a norm. Let the words be a norm and the action have consequences. That's my thing. I've been through too much to deal with a lot of people's ignorance, especially with police abuse. Not too much, but just with certain people. The way the police could abuse their powers with medication drop off, no accountability to medicate me and to drug my child, or a doctor actually, a doctor abusing their power to lie on a document, which should be punishable. Last time I checked, it was, but times have changed. And to manipulate it to make it seem like one is psychotic, as they're not, and to medicate them unwillingly, unconsented. That's my problem. With my daughter, I never gave permission for anything, to any procedure, any device, any fucking thing. I'm overly protective of her. And this did happen when I was forced. This is gang stalking. This is targeted individual. So when the whole society is ganging up against you because you made some stupid smart-ass remark, no. And these pussy-ass fucking bitches, doctors, and psychologists, and they're not all white. I had a black mental social worker at the VA, and this woman was more racist than the majority of the fucking white people that were racist. So I'm not giving a fuck about skin tones or skin shades. That's how much I hate skin, is the problem it's caused me. And the ignorance of other people, that annoys me. Skin doesn't tell you anything. It just lets you know maybe you ate too much oily food, maybe you smoke, you got wrinkles. I don't know. It's a protective layer. That's all it is. And how well you'll do in certain environments, you know. That's all it fucking is. That's all skin is. Get over it. Even though there are people that have beautiful skin. I mean, you just see them and you're just like, wow, you know. It's like having a really nice coat, you know, like, oh my God, where did she get that from? That's what it is. Oh my God, what are you mixed with? Or, holy shit, are you Irish or are you African? Whatever. But I'm past that point where I really don't care. So, with the diamonds, Sophia, once she got in my life, the grandmother, it went to hell. I felt like everything was staged. She was trying to make me quit my job so I could be her caretaker. And I'll be her slave, and she'll be my slave master, is what it basically ends up to. And I wasn't trying to be her caretaker. We butted heads too much. I'm too bullheaded. As quiet as I am, I do have limitations, and there are times when I draw my line, and once I draw it, I draw it. I don't cross it. And a lot of these dumb doctors, honestly have that perception that females just tell them I'm so-and-so and they'll fall in love with me, you know? So they try to tell me they were this person, that person, or they even told me I love you so many times that, and Dr. Mitchell said, oh, I could be Kenny Chesney, you know, shit like that. And it's like, get the fuck away from you. It's these people that went from high school working really hard, possibly, benefit of the doubt. They actually worked for their education, and mom and dad are doctors, and they have to be a doctor. So from high school, they got a job being a doctor, same hospital, went straight to college, never fucking lived life, never experienced anything besides a fucking resort that's nothing but the same people that they hang out with. So these people aren't cultured, they're inexperienced, they're ignorant, they're not diverse. And working at a trauma center, you would think they'd open their eyes and their minds, just talk to a patient, but they're limited. Um, as dumb as they think that most of us are, it's them that I honestly was shocked to see how dumb they were. Um, and their view of me, which was disgusting, thinking I was just a receptionist with no life experience. Or they thought I was sexually driven, that I'll jump at any man that says, oh, I want you, I love you. And it's like, get the fuck away from me. You know, it's disgusting. And for them, it's like, what? I'm a doctor, you know? And I'm like, yeah, I have standards. And it's not occupation. And I mean that. It's really disgusting that people would even, the way I even carry myself, I don't know what gave them that idea that I would fall for them, or I'd be manipulated to believe that they loved me or something like that, you know. And I think one man was deprived by his father um, because he couldn't date black women. It was a white male who was waiting for his father to die um, so he could date black people. Um, that's sick. That's really sick. Um, the way you raise your children with hate, if people could focus on love, maybe there'd be less killings. Um, it's mostly the children killing their parents or their spouses or whatever. There'd be a whole lot less crimes if you let your child be free in their mind, um, rather than just the physical. These people had money. They had basically, they were set, but mentally they were trapped. And they were trapped by their parents and the society they lived in. And so that's really disturbing. Um, and one even went back to the point where I was pregnant, and he's like, I saw you, I really wanted you. And so they stalked me. That's all they did. They stalked me. And it's just, my stalkers started adding up. If you can see, I'm not that attractive. Um, and that's due to the medication that they've given me to loosen up my skin, to basically deform me. One guy had it in his mind to cut my whole face up, which I didn't care. I didn't mind scars. I like scars. They're beautiful. But it's their perception of me, which was creepy. It was too much for anybody to be paying attention to one person, to obsess over and actually take action. That's the action part. That's really disgusting, how they've been trying to make me cut myself. They morphed in my body for the first 2 years plus, trying to make me beat my child, trying to make me cut my finger. And what they'll do is I'll be comfortably chopping my onion, and then they'll warp in to a point. I mean, they had it calculated. They had the math down to where I would cut my hand, my thumb. But there was also somebody else who knew that I really wanted to kill myself, but who also knew that they were trying to kill me inside of me. I hope this makes sense, but it's true. And so there's somebody that broke in to dull my knife. Every new knife that I got, it was fucking dull. The minute I left the house, the minute I came back, it was dull. Another thing is they'd place ants. They'd do this, they'd do that, they'd do something. So it's really disgusting. And Cheers. But, and then when I drink alcohol, like this is the most normal I've been. I used to drink my wine and do my projects. It's nothing. I have a high tolerance. But the minute I took a sip, I had a drunk in me. Heavy, heavy, heavy motherfucker, too. Much bigger than I was, where they couldn't walk. Their balance is way off. I used to do yoga. After my first surgery, though, right after my first surgery, I went to yoga a week after. Hot yoga. I love my hot yoga. And I couldn't fucking balance myself. And I couldn't stretch. I couldn't do shit. And I'm like, not cool. When I took a shower, I couldn't reach my back. That was another problem. And then my stomach fucking kept plumping up and then shrinking down, plumping up, shrinking down. And then it gets bigger and bigger every fucking time for no reason. Because I didn't eat much either. I rarely eat until this shit. With this, they make you eat a lot. And the person must be rich to have an appetite like that. And I really mean it. Because I think if they're going to morph into us poor people, they should at least pay us for the appetite that they have so we could get ourselves something good. Barbie, hint, hint. Pay me tummy support, some shit. If I'm going to get fat for that fat ass bitch. Plus, she looks like Charlie Horse, and she was trying to say she was black. So I convinced her, oh, you know, a lot of black people have freckles, and you have black in you because of the curly hair, and, oh, yeah, you're definitely black, you know. And she's like, oh, I could pull it off, you know. I could pull off being you. I'm like, this desperate, dumb bitch. I mean, I think it was when they found out I was, my saving grace was Kenny Chesney. But they found out I was talking to him, and all the gold diggers went crazy. And then it was Eminem or some shit. And then they went fucking nuts. And Marshawn Lynch, and I mean, the gold diggers were attacking to the point where I hated the men that they were even talking to me because I had these nasty whores that were terrorizing me just to get to them. And so I hated most of them, just for that reason. That reason alone, I would hate anybody. If you guys had these people in your head just screaming and telling you the nasty shit they were gonna do to pretend to be you, you'd go crazy too. And Jim Diamond wanted to make it seem like it was the queen that got pissed off and shit like that. And something about royalty, and supposedly Barbie's royalty, which Barbie is nowhere near royalty. But it was something about royalty. And they were trying to kill my bloodline. It's some dumb shit along that line, and it was just dumb. The whole thing was dumb, and I've never, ever in my life talked to so many dumb idiots as I have with all these educated people that thought they were so much better than the majority of us. But that's about it. And as for Kenny Chesney, though, a beautiful man. And then I think there was a couple of freaking gold diggers that were after him. A lot of gold diggers. There's gonna be a person that's gonna come out and say that he raped them when he didn't. And then there's a lot of men trying to rape him, which is scary. And I don't know if later on I did speak to the real one, but we have history. Um, but later on, that was decades or so ago, and there are people that were imitating him. So scary. A lot of songwriters that were really aggressive and desperate for materials to manipulate me and him, to manipulate whatever connection or that we had. And there was also Habashas and blacks on my side that were trying to terrorize me, just so I wouldn't be with him. There's a lot of nasty behaviors, but I was mostly under mind control after, oh, I was mostly under mind control, especially after what is that, Fairfax, the mental institute. I went in to Providence, Everett, for insomnia, because they wouldn't let me fucking sleep. But came out, they did something to me where I don't remember shit. All I know is my body wasn't right again. And that was about a month after my last surgery. And after that, it was mind control. And the V2K. V2K is voice to skull. And the high frequency in my ear, it was loud. It's like somebody's just... It's still going on right now. And there's like a surround sound system for different people's voices. I'm not schizophrenic. Um, I'm somewhat glad I had a rough fucking life, because I probably would have went crazy. I would have went fucking psycho. All I remember as myself was January, me cussing out every fucking thing, everything in my house, trying to figure out where the shit was coming from, where the noise is coming from, playing with the electricity, turning it on and off. But it's just they erased my fucking memory. As I figured out, they erased my memory. I was just cussing everybody and everything out. And then I was basically crippled with what they could do with this machine. I couldn't walk. I couldn't crawl. I couldn't do nothing. I couldn't lift my baby. I missed a lot with my child because of these selfish bastards. It's one thing I hate, because I loved her milestones. But I missed it. For somebody's selfish ways. Even as we were struggling, we were there for each other, you know. She was my baby. When I used to call her my PTSD dog, where if I had her, we'd hold hands and then she'd calm me down. So I wouldn't be so aggressive with people when we go through groceries. And I usually have to hold on to something, just so I don't fight back, because I really want to fight back. I'm really tempted to, but I have to be cautious, especially being black, and especially being a veteran. Two major stereotypes that people would automatically say, oh my god, they're psycho. But then it's like, what drove us psycho? You know, they keep messing with us, and we get messed with the most, you know. And we snap too, we're human. And they're like, whoa, oh my god, that's so scary, you know, they're psychotic. No, bitch. It's you that caused that. And I mean that. That's, people are just so rude, disrespectful. But I'm used to it. I'm usually just surprised with kindness. Other than that, nothing shocks me. And then they tortured me mentally with the V2K, with child abuse. A lot of children, they made me hear children getting abused, and then there was adults pretending to be kids and saying, my mommy touches me and stuff, and telling me they're getting raped by their foster parent, whether their adoptive parent, their actual mother. There were real stories with Harborview doctors that do nasty things to their children, and that's what they're trying to hide. And there was a couple of doctors, like, don't touch them. I remember making myself a target, pissing off the doctors, so I could be their target, main focus, so they wouldn't touch their child. That I remember. I remember one kid specifically. It was really sick. What the parents do? It's really fucking nasty. No child should go through that. And that's another thing. They were trying to make me seem like a fucking pedophile. And no. And they make my child moan at night, like, oh, it's really sick. That's really fucking sick. They make what they did to my daughter. And I was scared. I didn't want to let her sleep in the other room. Nothing, because of what they did. And we slept on the same bed. And, I'd have to constantly keep an eye. I rarely slept, because of what they did. Whether it was sexual or taking shots at my kidney using her body. Now the person is inside my dog, which is sick. But you could tell their behaviors apart. If you study you need to study everybody in your life. Just get to know them and know their certain characteristics, but it'll pop up. And even if you don't know the person, study your child's, where now you guys won't even have a chance to even know who your child is. That's the sad part. But with my baby, I could tell who is in her. Whether it's whatever, everybody has certain habits. And some people's, the way their lips are, the way they look, that's all I do is I catch it and I'm like, okay, that's that kid. I know it's going to be a hell of a fucking day today because I have that scandalous person in there. And I do believe that most of the children or adults that are my child are Caucasian. And it is problematic to me. It really is. And I did state 2015, Sophie is a white woman that I know she was trying to kill me so my daughter could be adopted by her granddaughter. But I told her, no, I'm not going to have a white woman adopt my child. I don't want her to be confused with her identity. And I still mean it to this day. If I marry a white man, now he could adopt my child. If I marry an Asian man, I don't give a fuck. Which I doubt I'll get married. It's at the bottom of my list. And I don't have a list, so there's that. But in certain situations, I don't care. But I'm not going to have my child be adopted by a white woman so she could be, a lot of these crazy motherfuckers that do adopt black children have mental issues. Or for advertisement because they stand out and they're trophies as they get abused. Or Barbie, she's going to turn out to be a psycho just like that one, and she's going to be emotionally neglected. And my neglect is way better than her being adopted by somebody else that I really fucking hate. I hate Barbie from the bottom of my heart. She's stolen many years from me, stolen my life, basically. And now she's trying to steal my behavior. Good fucking luck. I'd be impressed if she could pull off humble, even faking it. That's the truth. But she's not gonna adopt my child. I'd take my child to the grave with me before that fucking happens. And the society would be better off that way. But there was something about her kid being molested too, and the adoptive father wanted to gain custody back, and I was trying to help him out. But Jim Diamond, the police officer, did take mind control of him, so it's kind of scary. This whole, all these people that aren't mentally qualified to have control over a person's life are actually taking control of a person's life. And I have that obsessed psychopath in mind where I can't shake him off. And now I believe I'm surrounded by them, even though I was trying to get away from the ones in Washington. I end up with the same ones here. But it's psychotic. It's disgusting. But Washington was nothing but sexual pelvic region. Same with my daughter, what they did to her. The doctors. A lot of them are Greek. A lot of them are fucking Greek. And I've started seeing Greek here. And I'm honestly fucking disgusted. And what more can I do but get a concealed weapons permit? But even then, they know my location everywhere I go, every move I make. So every time I leave the house, they'll come in and do something, or they'll, in the middle of summer, they'll open the fucking door so the house would be hot as fuck. But if one of us is here, the house stays, as much as I go in and out, the house stays cool. In the winter, it stays warm. But if we leave the house, we'll come back and it's ice fucking cold because somebody would open the door. One time I found the French door open. This morning, I went out to smoke at the front, and the front door was locked. And then the top was unlocked, the bottom was locked. There's shit like that I'm used to. It's not a lie. It's the truth. They come in and out. At nighttime, they'll, right when I turn off the light, is to let me know that they're gonna torture me. The cops are fucking useless. They're polite, but useless. The Detective Mills over here, I think he moved from somewhere else to protect his brother, maybe. He's Jewish. Jewish is another one I'm looking out for, like cautiously. No, actually everybody. But the Detective Mills, his story rings a bell. His behavior is extremely awkward. Extremely fucking awkward. But I'm supposed to die here in this town. Better sooner than later, I would think. I'm not sure if it's going to be suicide, but who the fuck knows. They place those thoughts in me. It's whatever. But the cops are fucking useless. I don't call them anymore, but Washington is worse. Washington. No, that's a horror fucking story. But anyway, I'm rambling on. Yeah, so the Diamonds, corrupt cops, Seattle Police Department, which also included Shoreline Police Department, Linwood Police Department. I wanted to kill them all. I really did. I've kept calling, with vandalism, and terrorism. No response. Patty Murray, Congresswoman, piece of shit, loser. She shouldn't be in office. A Detective Nelson or some piece of shit got promoted. Washington. He was Linwood Police Department. He actually blocked me for my emails. I mean, Inslee doesn't even have voicemails, and he won't talk. But there's a lot of, and one motherfucker, it was a House of Representative in my district that I called, had the nerves to make an appointment and fucking cancel because some Bill Gates called and overrode that whole appointment. That's what it's like being hunted down by all these multi-million and billionaires. I mean, useless piece of shits. And then they call me AI. I mean, if it's AI, you guys will get dumber. That's all I can tell you. I couldn't even form a fucking sentence. It's like I didn't know fucking English. I didn't know terminology. I didn't know all the medical stuff I used to know. I dumbed the fuck down. It's like I became a little kid. But when they were sexually abusing me, they all thought I was a little kid. So that's a pedophile ring for you with electronics. But then now they're developing children dolls that could be used as sex toys, but they're connected to your child. Just know that. And your child could have a mind-to-mind conversation with these people and actually feel the arousal that these old perverts are having with your kid. But the old people are having it with the doll. But it's your kid that's attached to that fucking doll. Know that. And you will be too.